The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the host of webinar, Karen Mann, and I have with my team with me, Brooks, that's our chair, and our speaker, Ashley. We represent the Human Development and Leadership Division of American Society for Quality. This is a global division aiming to enrich the personal and professional lives of our members and non-members, the global community, to trump over current and future challenges. We continuously look for new speakers within the range of our body of knowledge, which can be found in our website. We do host monthly webinars, so if you're interested or know someone that is interested, we would love to hear from them and review their applications. The Book of Knowledge can be found on our website, www.asqandl.org. Link is also shared on the chat, so if you look on the right bottom, you can see the link over there. Before we begin the webinar, let me go over some housekeeping and some webinar rules. If there's any question, please type your question in the questions section, and we will answer the questions in the very end. Webinar will be held for 45 minutes, and we will have a Q&A for 15 minutes. If you want a continuing education credit for 0.1 CEU, you have to be on the webinar for at least 40 minutes. You will receive a dedicated email from us, which you can save as PDF and send it to ASQ to claim your credit. So now let me introduce to you Ashley Pay. Ashley Pear is the founder and CEO of Own Your Worth, an organization on a mission to break glass ceilings through career leadership. As a leadership coach, a negotiator expert, and a speaker, Ashley works with clients to help them feel confident when they ask for and receive what they want in life and their careers. Ashley leverages over 12 years of experience in global human resources and is a certified facilitator for the AAUW Work Smart program in the Boston City initiative close to gender pay gap. Ashley is a TEDx speaker and has been featured in the New York Times, PBS NewsHour, CNN Money, and Boston Voyager magazine. You can connect with her at her website, www.ownyourworth.com. So Ashley, that's an amazing bio. So I'm going to hand it over to you. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Karen. And hello to everyone joining today. I'm really excited to be with you. And as Karen mentioned, my name is Ashley Paré, and I'm coming to you from Boston today. So feel free, if you want to pop in the questions box, just where you're calling in today. I'd like to see what cities and towns and states we have represented. So I'm really excited to be here. The ASQ is a wonderful organization that I've been grateful to have done a few events with now. So I want to dive in today and talk about a very important topic that many of us experience at some point in our lives. So we're going to talk about how you can confidently negotiate after any unexpected job loss, whether that's being laid off or having to abruptly leave your job for a life event, even transitioning careers or returning to the workforce after FMLA or becoming a new mom or dad. So these skills that we're going to chat about today will really represent any career transition and help you feel confident negotiating. Karen, I have some background noise. I can hear an echo, so I'm not sure if someone else needs to be on mute, but that would be great. Thank you. I think that's better already. So I want to start by sharing a little bit more about my background and why I'm here with you today and why this topic is really important to me. So I had a very successful and fun and amazing career in global human resources. And I grew my career by climbing the corporate ladder, as many of us do. And I had my dream job, or what I thought was my dream job, for a global tech company. I was living and working in New York City. And I noticed something at that point in my career. And it was that I had stopped advocating for what I wanted. Based on the culture there, based on where I was, my relationship with some of my boss and the teams, something had happened and I was afraid to speak up. And so going on that journey myself, one day I got a phone call from a big tech company, a very popular one, and they wanted to have me join their organization. And I realized that after one phone call with that company, that outside company, I realized I was at least $30,000 to $40,000 underpaid. And now I had HR insider knowledge of the pay process, of salary and market data, but it was finally this phone call that really lit a fire under me to like wake me up to say, okay, Ashley, you have to start asking for what you want. And so that led me down a journey of asking for what I want and receiving an answer of no. And through my painful experience of leaving my dream job, because I felt like I had no other choice but to move on, I really uncovered what my passion and purpose is, and that is helping people like you really create dream lives and careers and advocate for whatever it is you want. And so I'm very passionate about keeping people in the workforce and moving up into leadership, because I want to help change cultures so that everyone can thrive in business. And so I founded Own Your Worth, and I work with clients all over the world to help them not only negotiate for what they want, but negotiate for their team members, negotiate with vendors and customers. So I truly believe that negotiation and the skills around negotiation can help all of us break our internal glass ceilings and break the outside glass ceiling. And so today we're going to be talking about how negotiation and advocating for what you want really stems from building trust within yourself and also within employers and your future bosses. So as Kieran mentioned, just recently, a few weeks ago, one of my big dreams came true, and I was so honored to be on the TEDx Beacon Street stage. So I'll tell you a little bit more at the end here today how you can see that talk that's going to come out. But I want to just share with you that I am living my ideal career in life, although I had gone through a very sad and uncertain time when I got a no, but that was ultimately what I needed. And so I took an opportunity to build and start over what I actually wanted in my career, and that's what I want to share with you today. So I'm excited to dive in, and I want to get your participation to help me tailor this talk for you, because I know you're all here for to learn, to grow, to ask. So I would love to know, and we're going to open up a poll here. Have you experienced any or all of these things at some point in your career? Have you experienced a layoff or an unexpected termination? Maybe a job offer that you really, really wanted and it fell through? Have you experienced fear of not finding a new job? Or even comparing your experiences to others? So Kieran, if you're able to load the poll, I'd love to see what the attendees have to say about their personal experiences in the workforce.
So responses are still coming in, so I'll just give it a few more seconds. Wow, interesting numbers. So I'll wait 5 more seconds and then I'm going to close it. Okay. So let's look at the numbers. So Ashley, 74% participants think that it is layoff or unexpected termination. And then the second highest is at 67%, fear of not finding a new job. Then third at 64% is comparing yourself to others. And the last one at 46% is job offer not that fell through.
Okay. Okay. So there's a mixture here, but it seems that the predominant answer is that you may have either currently or in the past experienced some sort of job falling through, or fear. Fear is common in terms of the job search. And so I just want to share that our careers are connected to, right, some of the major life events. So losing a job is one of the major life events that we can experience that causes us pain and shifts and change. So fear is definitely normal, and that's okay because we can work with fear. So I want to talk about that today for sure. And so before we dive into all the techniques and negotiation tactics and a few of the really important points that I want to leave you with today, I want to start off by talking about you. So in the work that I do with my clients, whether I'm speaking to a huge group within a corporation or if I'm working one-on-one with a client, I like to offer you the opportunity to pause and ask yourself, right, who do you think you are? So before you go to an interview, before you meet with a potential new boss, before you hit send on that job application, what thoughts are going through your mind about your experience, about your worth, about who you are and what you bring to the table? Because in my experience, in my work, not only in my own life and also with people that I work with, this is where all of the work starts, the preparation to really feeling confident and being able to self-advocate and negotiate for fair pay. So do a quick pulse check with yourself. How do you speak to yourself about yourself? Now, negative self-talk, we're all accustomed to, we all experience. Sometimes it's more prevalent than other times, but I really want you to notice if there's any room for you to bring in some self-kindness around wherever you are in your career, whatever level, whether you're currently employed or if you're looking, or maybe you're even aware that you may be losing your job at the end of the year. So I really want you to notice the thoughts, the inner voices that you have about who you are and what you bring to the table. Because today I want to definitely leave you with the reminder that you're amazing and you have a lot to offer. And being able to approach the job offer process and the job search process from that perspective really helps you set yourself up for success. So, are you striving to be respected or liked? Another pulse check question. So throughout your career, maybe even in your friendships, right, what comes to mind when you're showing up in a meeting, when you either speak up or don't speak up for what you want? Is it because you're worried about ensuring that people respect you for your ideas, your opinions, your experience, your education, right? Because in our world, and many of you shared that you compare yourself to others. So I just want you to know that you have your own unique experience. You have your own unique background, and you've all experienced life's ups and downs that are completely different than everyone else's. And so you have this unique sauce that you bring to any company, no matter what career path you've had. And so I really want you to think about, like, gaining others' respect and first yourself. First, and making that your priority versus being liked. Because when you're putting yourself out there, it's inevitable that you'll come across people that may not, want to hang out with you after work, and that is okay. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to get a great job and build a great career because of your background and your experience and what you do bring to the table. And the third piece around how you think about yourself is, what do you do? What do you bring to the table? What do you deliver on that's absolutely true about you and your work? So no matter if you're currently employed or not, what is absolutely true about you? Right? Your experiences in life cannot take away your truth, meaning it can't take away any experience you have, any project that you worked on or completed. any former experiences, sales, closed deals, whatever you might have had. So I want you to think about what's really true about you and your work. Because understanding how your transferable skills, all of your background, interweaves into creating a really great package to talk to companies about is really important. So I want you to think about, again, not in terms of selling yourself, but just building up your own confidence. Because whether or not you've experienced a job loss, which again, many, many people have at some point in their career, I want you to know that that experience doesn't take away who you truly are and what you're capable of doing at work. So in terms of mindset and emotions, this is really key in being able to go out there, back into the workforce, back into the job market, and feel a sense of hope and maybe even a little bit of fun versus stress and fear around looking for a job. So I want you to know that there is no failure. I don't believe there's failure. We either win or we learn. So I want you to start thinking about what your experience has been with your last job and really identify for yourself, what have you learned? What have you learned in terms of building relationships? And what have you learned in terms of skills, both hard skills and soft skills? Companies are looking to hire people with great soft skills, meaning leadership, being able to give and receive feedback, skills that are hard to teach, because they're willing to invest in training you from a technical standpoint, but they want you to come to the table with some great soft skills. So I want you to be aware of what you've learned from your successes and your failures, because that's what you're able to bring to the table and show that you are able to self-reflect. And companies and management really appreciate that, because in the end, we're all human. So I want to ask you if you can let go of any guilt and fear that you have about your current work situation, if you've lost a job or if you're re-entering the workforce after a career break. Can you let go of those emotions and think about this as a new opportunity, a new door opening? I've heard from many people that I've worked with that, you know, in the end, having lost a job was very painful, but they had this sense that it was coming, or they knew it wasn't right for them anymore. So sometimes this is just the catalyst to help us build what we really want. And for me, that's exactly what happened. When I was told no, I decided, even though I didn't want to leave that company, that I wasn't willing to continue working and be underpaid. And so I left, and it was really hard. But then I decided, you know what, I'm going to make the most of this. And so I'm going to really be sharing with you the tools that not only I personally use, but that I share with my clients in my coaching business and with organizations. Because during my experience with HR, I helped many, many people through the career transition process. And I know how scary it can be, but I also know how exciting it can be. So one other question for you is, if you truly believed in yourself, what would you do? I've had a client who lost his job and he decided to start his own company. It was always on his mind, and that was the perfect time to do it. So I want you to ask yourself, if you really truly believed in you, what would you do? What would your life look like? So to wrap up the mindset and emotions piece around losing a job, whether it's unexpected or not, is I want you to know that you are priceless, you're absolutely worthy, and you are resourceful. Your courage and your resourcefulness will lead you exactly where you need to go next to continue thriving in your job and earning competitive pay. So let's dive into your experience and what I believe you're bringing to the table, no matter what your resume looks like. So many of us have grown up in our careers feeling as if, right, we're lucky to have a job, or we're lucky to get that first job offer after school, or we're lucky that a layoff had missed us. But I really want to invite you to switch that and reframe that thought process to realize that companies really need you. Now more than ever, in tech industries and healthcare and business, we are going to be experiencing a workforce shortage over the next 10 to 15 years. And so your skill set, your background is absolutely needed for organizations to meet their business goals, to meet their sales goals, to meet the demands of how technology is changing our world. And so what you're bringing to the table really matters. And when you get a job offer from a company, that's the most leverage you will ever have in terms of negotiation, because that's when that company really wants you to say yes. They're wondering what it's going to take to get you to join the team, because once you have that job offer in hand, that company has gone through a stack of resumes, hours upon hours of interviews, and they're ready to hire their top candidate. So I want you to feel and own this position of power, that you have the choice to work wherever you would like to commit your time and expertise and experience. And so I want you to go into this process thinking that, right, what company out there is going to woo you? Who's going to roll out the red carpet to bring you onto their team because they believe in your value and your expertise? Now, the other piece to your experience is that you're going to be paid for the job that you will do and your contribution and results that you bring to the organization. So part of the interview process, I really encourage you to ask whether it's HR or the hiring manager to share with you the pay philosophy of that company. So I want you to ask, right, dear future employer, can you share with me more about the pay philosophy within the organization? How do you make pay decisions? How do you make merit-based increases? Because your experience and what you bring to the table is important, but the job that you're being hired into, the one that they want you to show up every day and do, that's where you should be being paid for. That's the role that your company is bringing you in to do, and that's where you can start looking at market data, which we're going to talk about next, and really determining where you should fall in the range for the role that you're going to do. So it doesn't really matter how many years or months you may have been out of work. If they're hiring you to do a job, that means they believe you can do it. And I want you to advocate for fair and competitive pay. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with these resources for understanding the market in terms of salaries and bonuses and compensation packages in general, but I really want to spend some time to support you in building your case. So I teach a lot of workshops, and again, I work with clients one-on-one, and this is the piece that we spend a lot of time on. And I really think it's where you can spend a good deal of your time preparing for your interviews, preparing for your negotiation, because the more you prepare, the more likely you are to succeed in not only feeling great about this job search process, but feeling great with the company that you end up taking a new role with. So part of preparing your case means really understanding your background, really understanding how you've helped the companies that you've worked with grow, what you specifically bring to the table. So many people will say to me, well, Ashley, I work on a team, and I often will say, well, we do this together. It's hard for me to think about, well, what I did on my own. And so I want you to ask yourself, if that's you, right? If you were on a team and you left, right? If you're no longer there, what is that company or that team missing out on because you're no longer there? So I really want you to get clear on what specifically you bring to the table. And a great process here is to pull up your resume, your own resume, and pull up the job descriptions of the roles that you're looking for online. And really compare and contrast what you have more of, what you have, and what are the few things that you might have less of. Because women typically apply for companies and roles when they meet, almost 100% of the job description requirements, whereas men are applying for jobs that they maybe reach maybe 70, 60% of the requirements. So I want you to just think about, what do you bring to the table? Are you interested in that company and that role? Because if so, it's worth having a conversation to see what the role actually requires. And again, companies are hiring for you, for your soft skills and what you bring to the table in terms of leadership and background, versus just how many things you've done. So the other important piece about preparing your case before you negotiate is really doing your market research. So I've provided some resources here that I love to use. And there's another piece that I'll mention as well. It's really important. But salary.com and payscale.com, if you're not familiar with them, those are great resources where employers send their data to those organizations. So it's employer reported data. Whereas Glassdoor is employee reported data. And so although Glassdoor might have some good reviews about company culture, I just want you to remember that it's hard for an employee to have a really great day and go on Glassdoor. So typically you're going to see the high end, the people that really love their job and really love their pay on Glassdoor, and the people at the low end, people that aren't happy. So just be aware of where you're getting your market data from. But I want you to look at the role that you're applying for and maybe the next level above, and see how those job descriptions on the websites match up to your background. Because this is how you find what makes sense to you in terms of defining your salary range that you'll share with the company. So before you ask any company, before you talk to any company about what it is you want to be earning, I want you to do this research. I want you to be prepared on what it is you want and what would be and feel like a fair and competitive salary for you. So I don't know, I can't see, Kieran, I'm not sure where people are calling in from, if someone responded or not, but here in Massachusetts, there's been new equal pay legislation that was passed in July, where companies can no longer ask employees for your salary history. So check whatever city or state that you're living in, because San Francisco, I believe Philadelphia, maybe New York, there's a bunch of cities and states that have now passed additional equal pay legislation that's hoping to, again, try to close the gender wage gap by not perpetuating low and unequal salaries. So if and when a recruiter or HR asks you that question, what are your salary expectations? There's two approaches you can use. One is for you to deflect and say, I'd really like to know some more information about this role and how my background and skills will add value. Can we have this conversation later? Right? Or after having done your market research online, you can say, I'm looking for $80,000 to $90,000 base salary. Is that within your range for this position? Is that part of the approved budget for this role? So in the work that I do, I really give you permission and empower you to ask companies the questions that you want to ask. You are interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. So what is it that you want to know about how they pay people, how they make decisions? Because no matter where you currently are in your career, no matter how long you've had a career break, again, if they are hiring you, it's because they believe you can do the job. And I want you to ask to be paid fairly and competitively, because you're worth it, and it helps you really create an ideal future for not only yourself, but your family. It allows you to create a cushion and balance in your life, right? Money in our world is what turns the world. And so it's important that you have what you need to build a thriving life. So another part of your negotiation case building process is asking yourself in your last role, how did you make your boss's job easier? What was it that you specifically did that took things off of your boss's plate and really made it easier for them to do their job? Because that's a great story to tell during an interview. So I was working with a client who had been in his job for 7 or 8 years. He worked in finance. He loved his job. He loved his boss. He had never advocated for himself. And as we were discussing, what he wanted and what was holding him back from going for it, he realized that he's like, you know what? I'm about to go on vacation in a couple of weeks. And every time I go on vacation, my boss tells me, oh my God, I'm so glad you're back because it was really hard for me to handle everything while you're away. So we decided to time his ask after he got back from his vacation. And he got a $20,000 raise. So I want you to think about, how did you make your boss's job easier? If you're helping to take things off their plate, helping them look good, helping you and your team meet goals, these are the stories that I want you to bring into your interviews to show just how valuable you are. And another piece to that is, what business outcome did you drive or deliver on? So if you can think about whatever the goals were of your organization or of your teams, how did you contribute to those? Or how did you save your company money or make your company money? A lot of folks will say, well, it's hard for me to find, objective data to prove what I did. So if you can't attach numbers to your work, can you attach outcomes or people or reviews, positive reviews and statements and feedback that you received? So again, this is all helping you think through how to prepare your best case to go have some great interviews, to go have some good discussions, to remember that you are very valuable in our marketplace and that you can manifest and create a really great job no matter where you are. So I want you to act as if you are the CEO of your life. Act as if you are very valuable to an organization, to your family, to yourself. And I want you to act as if you've already earned what you want. So as I was transitioning from my corporate career into learning how to run and build a business, right, I showed up from this place as often as I could, right? Just acting as if, okay, I'm going to make this decision from an empowered place. And so I share this picture with you because this picture was part of a photo shoot I did earlier this year with the New York Times. It was about the initiative here in Boston to close the gender pay gap. And I had 1 day's notice to show up for this photo shoot. I didn't know it was going to happen. And if I had really stopped to think about, like, whoa, what is happening? I really would have panicked or freaked out. But I decided to show up for that shoot and have so much fun. And I just kept saying, I'm here. I'm doing a photo shoot for the New York Times. And so I decided to own it. I decided to act as if I was already in the New York Times, not knowing what would happen, not knowing what pictures they would use. So I want you to think about what you're going through right now, no matter how painful or fearful or stressful it may be for you and your family. I really want you to think and remember, right, that you are capable of so much. And I want you to act right as the CEO of your life. I want you to say no to what doesn't feel good to you. I want you to ask those tough questions of your employers, because it's going to enable you to build some really great relationships with your potential new bosses and companies. And it's going to help you feel that you're making a difference, making impact at work, really being recognized for what you do bring to the table. So sometimes I get questions about, if I negotiate a job offer, will the company take the offer back? And I find that it's very rare that that actually happens. So it has happened, but it's rare. But I know it's a big fear that people have. And from my HR background, from my employer background, that was not something that I had ever done or seen. And most companies will get to the point where if they can't afford you, they will say, you know what, this is our best and final offer. But if you are sensing that there's some bias or pushback or resistance because you negotiated, I want you to know that it's actually doing you a favor by not taking that job. Because great talent is hard to find and attract and retain. And if you negotiate and it goes negatively, that's just telling you all you need to know about the culture of that new organization. So I'm really giving you permission to show up as your CEO self and run your job search process right, as a business, because it is your life and it is your career. So are you ready to go for it? Again, negotiation, I believe, is the rocket ship that we all need to break through the external glass ceilings and to break through our internal glass ceilings, right? What are we afraid of? What do we think that we couldn't ever get? That's what I love enabling clients to see for themselves and to go after and to put into action. So I want to leave plenty of time to answer your questions since you've all taken time out of your day today. So I'm going to open it up to a Q&A, but first I want to just share with you that I would love to stay in touch. So as my gift to you, please email me directly if you're motivated and really want some support on moving into a confident and successful negotiation and or job search. So I'm offering 5 complimentary consultations to folks who email me today, email me now with the ASQ December 18 subject line, and I'll be happy to get on a private call with you to help you strategize and build your case. And to close, before we open up the Q&A, I had such a blast giving my TEDx talk, which was a dream of mine, and I would love to share it with you. It's going to be launching on YouTube soon. I don't know when, so if you want to get access to that talk, please hop on over to my website, ownyourworth.com, and just click to register for my newsletter, and you'll be the first to know when the TEDx talk lands, and I hope you really enjoy it. There's more of my story in there. It's really about asking for your cake and negotiating too. So that's the title, how to have your cake and negotiate too. So I'm really excited to share, and thank you so much for being here. And I would love to answer your questions now. So feel free to pop them in, and Kieran will help me answer some questions.
Thank you, Ashley. One of the questions you had asked way before about where everybody is from, I can't see everybody's location, but some of the people were kind enough to kind of type in where they are from, and they're like every corner of the USA. So yeah,
Great.
so you do have a lot of diversity here.
Cool.
So let's start with the Q&A. If I can request everybody to kindly just type in your questions, and Ashley will go one by one. I do have the first one to begin with. How can you get leverage when you're unemployed? This is a question from Louis.
Yes. So the leverage when you're unemployed is going back to what you bring to the table and your confidence in how you share what you're capable of doing. So many people are in between jobs, have family situations, right? It really depends on how you share your story about where you currently are in your job search process. So if you're unemployed and the company's asking you, well, tell us about, what happened. You can be honest, right? But you can also share that, although it's been a difficult transition for you, you're really hopeful and looking forward to joining a company that offers X, Y, and Z. So the leverage piece comes in when you believe you're the best fit for that role and when the company believes you're the best fit. So I think companies less and less are really concerned with if you're currently employed or not, because the job market is so much more fluid than it used to be. So you don't need leverage. You need your skills, your experience, your confidence, and you actually kind of need to go to the table like, yeah, I don't need this job, right? I want you to act as if you have so many options, so many potential offers, because that's when companies are like, ooh, right? That you must have some amazing skills. We want to get you faster. So it actually has the opposite approach when you can go into those conversations confidently. And when you're not in this needy place, and not I don't mean that from a negative standpoint, but when you give this air of you don't really need it, that makes you more valuable. It's kind of human nature. So I hope that helps. Thanks for the question. Great question.
That's great. I have a question from Holly. How do you negotiate before you leave your job and are underpaid?
So I think what you're asking is if you're in a current job and you want to ask for maybe a raise, and perhaps you know you're underpaid because you have either market data or you know what people around you are making. And that's a great point I wanted to make earlier. If I encourage everyone to talk about money, right? So no matter what your cultural background, no matter what your experience with money is, or no matter what your parents modeled of you and what your corporations do or don't say about money, I really want you to encourage each other to talk about money, because this helps create pay transparency, which will help close the gender pay gap as well. So if you're internal, working at a company and you'd like a raise, this time of year is great to start having those conversations. I actually have done many other webinars. It's a whole separate topic in terms of negotiating internally. But what I will say is that you want to set aside some time with your manager to talk about your career development. So you would build your case the same way we just talked about here, but you can share with your boss, that you really love working there, that you're looking forward to the year ahead, but it's come to your attention based off of, a webinar that you went to, some market research you did, working with a career coach, that you're underpaid and you really want to work with your boss to put a plan in place to get you fair and marketable pay.
Yeah, Holly also mentioned that she has gained a lot of new certificates.
A lot of new certifications, great, yes. If you've taken on new projects, if you've covered for someone who left the workforce, if you've taken on more responsibilities, something I talk about in my TEDx talk is that, in our society, men are generally promoted more often based on potential, where women are faced with this prove it first mentality. So if you're in a role that's more responsibilities than what you originally hired for, that can be cause for a conversation about being paid fairly for the role that you're doing.
Thanks, Ashley. A question from Gloria. I'm currently reporting to the C-suite, and I have made my former boss' job easier, and I have contributed to positive outcomes. I'm a fixer, I'm a senior director, and no one is telling me why I'm not a VP like my male peers.
No one is telling you why you're not a VP. So my question is, have you asked to be promoted to VP? And if not, why not? And I'm sensing maybe fear of potential negative consequences. So that's what I was definitely facing. I was almost always the only woman in the room managing sales and engineers in the companies I worked with, also marketing. And so first of all, congratulations, because you have, you're in a position of power for others in your organization. You're working with the C-suite. And so this is really about you building influence. And I would want to know more, so feel free to email me and we can hop on a call. I would want to know more about what's holding you back, either what external experiences have happened or any internal fears that are preventing you from making a case to ask to be promoted to VP.
Okay, a question from Erica. I'm in Florida, and how do you maneuver getting an offer for a job that would be a good fit for you, but you're hoping to receive an offer from a different company that you are still in the interview process for where the job would be the ideal and perfect job?
Yeah, so if you're interviewing currently, right, and it's like juggling, it can be tough, right? If you're talking to many different companies and some of them are going to push through before the end of the year to close out, others are going to take a break and come back in January. So I want you to be honest with the companies that you're talking to and let them know what you need. So from the HR perspective, companies should let you know when your offers will expire. So if you get a job offer, it should say will expire in 5 days, 3 days, but please do not let any company pressure you into making a decision until you're comfortable. Again, that tells you a lot about their culture and any tactics they're trying to use. So if you're in your job search and you want to do your due diligence and you have your top company in mind, then I want you to tell that top company that they are your top company, that you are interviewing with other organizations, but ideally you would love an offer from them. Is there anything that you guys can do to move the process forward faster? And or can you ask them, right, to slow it down if that's what you need? So if you're juggling different interviews and different job offers, that's actually the best place to be in. So someone, I think it was Louis, who asked about leverage earlier. Having 2 job offers or more at the same time is the best leverage for anyone, whether you're currently employed or not, because you can compare and contrast what companies are offering you and ultimately what you want. So no matter what the financial offer is, I want you to always be considering being paid fairly and competitively, but things like culture, flexibility, benefits, perks, location, all of those come into factors as well. But it doesn't mean you have to accept an underpaid base salary. So getting a base salary that's fair is really important because that's what your raises are based on. That's when companies provide 401k matches and all of those other things. So really advocate for a fair base salary. And good luck. I hope you're able to get both those offers and make the best decision for you.
Okay, a question from Donham. How do you answer if you have been fired?
So if you're on the job market because you were fired for cause or poor performance, then there's a few different ways you can answer this. Obviously, I don't know the details, but what's great to say is that, you know, it didn't work out with my last organization. There was either a difference between performance expectations or a difference of opinion, and it was a mutual decision. Or you can just say, right, it didn't work out, and I've realized, you know, why. Here are the few things. So I'll give you a sales example. So sometimes, right, if you're in sales or if you're not meeting the objectives of the role, whether you have warnings or not from your employer, if you were let go unexpectedly, it's always important to say that what you learned from the experience. So was it because the company wasn't completely honest about what they needed or what they were expecting from you in terms of delivering? Was it because, you know, you're in a tough position and you just accepted the offer early on? Right, so you can say the reason I'm on the job market today is because things didn't work out with my last employer, and it's really important for me that I join a company that has these 3 things. So just being honest, but focusing on what it is you want next, and again, what you bring to the table. So it happens, I know there's really a stigma, right, around job loss, termination, but it happens at every single company. So it's kind of like breaking up in a relationship, right? Not everyone is for everyone, and that's okay. So I really want to invite you to be kind to yourself and know that you're not alone, and it does not mean anything about what's possible for you in the future.
Thank you, Ashley. A question from Karen. I have a decent salary, great benefits, but I just don't like my job anymore. So considering a total career 180,
Yeah.
55, afraid to lose not only the salary and benefits, but all of my years of creating who I am in my career in order to start over. Maybe if I do this job someplace else, will be the ticket, or maybe I do need a big change.
So what I'm hearing, Karen, is that you would be so excited to have this big change, and I would love to support you in making that happen. It's normal to have those fears, but I want you to ask yourself, if you don't go for it, will you regret it? So I would love to hear from you. Please shoot me an email and we can talk more, but all of your past experience is going to help you thrive in whatever it is you want to do next. And if you have that inner calling, that inner knowing, we can absolutely work with that. It doesn't matter how many years experience you have, how old you are, how young you are, how many years of experience you don't have. I help clients start side hustles, start their own businesses, leave long-term careers, re-enter their workforce. So this really does come down to your confidence and willingness to take action. So good for you, and I'm excited to hear more about what it is you would do if you do a 180.
Thank you. A question again from Louis. With all the noise about immigration, especially with the Hispanics, how can you minimize the bias to get hired based on your race?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So I'm not sure it really matters where you are in our country right now, but it probably does. So I want you to be really cognizant about the places that you're applying. So the one good thing is that we have more data available to us as employees now than ever in terms of online, in terms of Glassdoor. So I would really encourage you to leverage your network, people that you do know or used to work with, to get a sense of, right, what companies are doing the right thing by employees. So here in Massachusetts, as part of the salary negotiation workshops that the city gives for free, there's also a compact, the 100% compact, that comes out of the mayor's office of women's advancement. And over 250 companies signed this compact saying that they're going to treat their employees equally and offer equal pay. So I want you to think about looking for those companies that get awards for diversity and inclusion, for equal pay. But I want you to ask questions as well. You know, what is the culture like for women, for minorities, for underprivileged people within the organization? So I want you to pay attention during the interview process about how you feel there. And absolutely, if you are facing any bias, then I wouldn't encourage you to really push to work with those people. So I know there are great companies out there, and also I'm happy to share resources with you if you let me know your industry, what you're looking for. I have a great big network on LinkedIn, so please connect with me, anyone on LinkedIn, and if you see someone that you want an introduction to, I'm happy to make that for you.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to quickly go through the last 3 questions that I have because we're getting closer to the end.
Okay.
Question from George. Any examples of the people you helped out and how it resulted?
Yes. So, my goodness. I've worked for the past 3 years now. I've worked within my own business, so either coaching clients one-on-one, or I have a group leadership program. So I run a leadership program for folks that either are starting their own business or want to start their own business or are looking to grow within the corporate ladder. So it's a leadership program around developing your own voice, giving and receiving feedback, self-advocacy and negotiation for business. There's different topics. So my clients receive $25,000 raises, $40,000 promotions. They start their own businesses. One of my clients gave her first public talk at a tech conference. One of my clients just actually is interviewing with 2 companies for the first time in over 10 years because she's been at the same company for 10 years. So I have amazing, amazing clients and success stories. Even just people that I meet at workshops will email me saying, Ashley, I just got a raise. I just asked for what I wanted. I was just promoted. So my work is really about owning your worth. So helping you as a human being realize how amazing you are and going out there and building whatever life and career you really want. And so I want to empower you to grow within the corporate world and or start your own business to change the corporate world, because I really want to make our culture and our businesses more open, more inclusive, and better places for everyone to be. So because of my experience, my personal experience, and what I know about how businesses can either do the wrong thing or the right thing. I'm really passionate about unveiling, the company side to help you thrive in your career. So I hope that was helpful, and I'm happy to talk with anyone. And if I'm not the right fit, then I have a lot of great resources to refer you to.
Thank you. A question from Ernesto. How do you know that the company is giving you their best offer?
So once you get an offer, you want to ask for some time to review it. So say, thank you so much. I appreciate the offer. I need a day or two to review it. Can I get back to you? And then you go back to them. I have a few questions. I was looking for 80 to 90,000. I appreciate the offer at 70, but I was really hoping you would be able to get the base up closer to 80 to 90. Is that something you could do? So you want to ask them, right? Is there anything else you can do for me? If so, I will be happy to sign and say yes and join the company today. So ultimately, companies want to know what it will take you to say yes. Again, if you have that offer in hand, they really want you to join the company. And if they go to bat for you and get you more money, they want to know you're going to say yes. So until you hear this is our best and final offer, please ask, because you won't know if you're leaving money on the table until you ask.
That's a really good point. So I think I'm going to wrap it up from here.
Okay, great.
Given the time we have. So thank you for all the questions that were raised. So thank you so much for all the participants. And
yes,
before I explain how you can get credit for tonight's webinar, I would also like to thank Ashley Paré. It was really nice information and well answered questions, as well as our chair, Brooks, and all the organizer who always help us with the webinar and working in the background. So today's presentation and recording of the webinar will be posted on our website and our YouTube channel within 48 hours. So feel free to re-listen to it and catch it if something you missed. Our next webinar will be on January the 16th. John Bracklin. He will be educating us about the new ASQ portal. I think that would be a really interesting topic, and how you can personalize my ASQ. So please feel free to register yourself at our website by viewing our calendar, www.asqhdnl.org. To get an automatic notification about our future webinars, you can follow our LinkedIn page or sign up for our newsletter through our website. The follow-up emails also include that, so just keep a watch on that as well, how to find us. Our surveys, we highly appreciate that you take a minute or so, to fill up the survey, which will pop up on your screen as soon as you close the webinar. So for those who are attending over the phone call, you will receive a follow-up email within an hour that will also include the survey link as well as the upcoming webinar information. The surveys allow us to improve the quality of upcoming webinars and better meet your needs. And also for the CEU credit, for those of you who attended at least 45 minutes, you will receive a separate email in addition to the follow-up email within, I think, 24 business hours or so, notifying you that you are getting a 0.1 continuation education credit. You can save that, take it to ASQ as approved to claim your credit. And once again, thank you so much. Thanks, Ashley, and have a good night, everyone, and wish everybody happy holidays and a happy new year.
Ashley, this is Brooks.
Hi.
Very, very good job. Thank you from the division. It's very important to us to present the kind of quality webinar that you just did. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Brooks. And thank you, everyone, for your great questions and for being here with me today. So I look forward to keeping in touch. And yes, enjoy the holidays. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.